Hi guys, I'm Jim and this is Jim's Fix-It Shop, and we're finally going to get started on this snapper build. The parts finally came, all of them I think, and I've got some time to do it, so let's get started. First we're going to put this chain case together. I've checked. You want to make sure your bearings are okay, no slop. You can check them pretty much by just visual. These are a set of pin bearings up in the top, and you have a set of roller or ball bearings in the bottom. Before you install this, take your drive tube. If your nylon thrust washer is wore out, I put a new one on this one. To help you get this on, you're going to want to file the burrs off the bottom of this tube. For some reason they get some nasty burrs on it. File them off, get the thing started. I got it started by pushing it on the table. Slide it down there, and it kind of snaps in up here at the top. And the only way to really get that on there all the way is use your hub, put it on the table, and press on it really hard, and it will snap down on there. Then you're going to want to take this and just set it off to the side here for a minute, and we'll start on this chain case. Now there's not much in this chain case. I guess that's why they call it a chain case. You got your hub, put that up partially in there. Put your chain on. Now I check these for slop. They're easy to check. And you want to hook this bottom sprocket on so you can get them both started at the same time and shoved in. And that's all there is in the inside of this. Now if you want to check this to see if it's okay before, and you don't really want to tear it apart, if I can do this without dropping it, just turn this. If the bottom sprocket turns, or the top sprocket hub turns, then your chain's okay. You don't have to tear this apart. Get this together. You put your new gasket on here. Put this together. Now, if you don't want to tear this apart, but you do want to clean it out, pull this plug out. This one's already out of here. It's a little black plug. I guess I threw it away. I had some. It looks like this one. That's still in. Pull that plug out. Let all the old oil drain out of there. It's going to look like metallic paint. There's going to be so much metal shavings in that oil. Fill it up with paint thinner. Put your thumb over it and shake it good. Turn this to get all that crud out of the bearings and out of the chain. Dump it out. I would do that until the mineral spirits or paint thinner comes out as clean as it went in. Then fill it back up with 80-90 gear lube. That's what I'm going to put in this. You can get regular snapper lube. It's 4-aught snapper grease. And the last time I actually bought it, the first time I rebuilt mine, it was over 20 years ago, and it was like $17, $18 a quart back then. 80-90 gear lube is about the same consistency, and it's about what, $5 a quart. I don't think I'm going to get the snapper lube. Now these just screw together. The back side of this is stamped out and threaded. If you happen to strip one of them out, don't worry about it. Stick a screw through. You may have to drill the hole a little bigger. Put like a 1032 through with a nut on the back side. It's not going to give you any problems with clearance. You don't have to worry about it. Now you got this we got this back together. I assembled this one last night. This is the one I'm actually going to use. On the front side, this is my brake that I have on mine. I don't use that goofy little brake that I don't like. Then we got some washers to put on here. They use a lot of these cone-shaped washers, and I don't really understand why. It doesn't give you I guess it'd give you a little less holding power than just a standard flat washer and a bolt going through it. I don't understand why they're using these all over these snappers. Now I got the brake on. We'll put the brake disc on. Now that I guess we'll put that on when we get this thing hanging in the machine. It'll be easier to align it. But that's about it on this. So we can set this off to the side. Now if you remember, I said I had two of these machines tore apart so I could use the best parts out of both. This is my differential cover, and if you can see that in there, this particular machine had so much side play on the rear end. When you stood the machine up, you grabbed the two back tires. They're not supposed to slot back and forth more than 1/32. This one had probably 1/4 of an inch. And you can see it just about cut through that case. So this case is, well, I suppose you could weld that up and grind it flat, but I'm not going to bother using it. We're going to throw it down there in the spare parts. Now this one is in real good shape, no problems with it on the inside. We're going to start putting this together. Somewhere is my bolt. Here's my bolt, lock washer and washers on it. That goes through from the outside, sticks in. Then, this is the hub that this spins on. You can put these in now. First I gotta put another one of these little funny cone-shaped washers. And you can't really see it. They're cupped for some reason. That goes on this bolt. Then this rubber O-ring goes on. I grab a part. Okay, when you put that O-ring and that little coned washer on, make sure you put the O-ring on first. That seals around the bolt so the grease don't leak out around the outside. Okay, you got your O-ring on, you got your washer on. Next goes this hub that the gear spins on top of. You can put the gear and a chain I have assembled. You can put that in there. Then we have another one of these cone-shaped washers goes on, and another rubber O-ring. Now, just to hold this mess all together, I'm going to put the nut on, but we're going to have to take that off later. I'm just going to spin that on my fingers, just to hold this thing in one piece. Now, I don't know if I can get you down here a little closer. Let's try it. Okay, now I took a board and clamped it to the bench, and I drilled a 2-inch hole in it. It's going to help a lot, especially if you work alone like I do. You're going to put this is your hexed drive tube. That's what slides on through the chain case. Now this one's in real good shape. My other one was really bad, so I mean it was wore right into the tube about a 1/64 of an inch just from shifting this thing back and forth. They must have really used this. And this is where that nylon thrust washer rubs in here. That's why this is real shiny. Now if I can get this in here and get the chain over it, we'll be doing really good. Okay, now we're going to drop this whole mess inside this hole. That helps a lot. Now the next thing you want to drop in, I believe, we want to drop this gear in. Now on these gears, this is the old assembly that came out of my machine. I guess I'll just set this axle. That's the old axle. Some of them, I don't know where. This came out of one of the machines I tore apart. It's got 4 holes in it. It had 4 gears. This one had 8 holes in it, but it only had 4 gears. Now the 4 gears and 8 gears is the difference between what they call a commercial machine and a residential machine. What it does is it gives less stress and wear on the half of the axle that comes out of the differential. Now on the old machines with just 4 gears, if I can find that old axle, that's your weak link. That's what happens to it. It's supposed to look like this. So we're going to try and fix that problem when we put this back together. This gear, they had all the holes drilled, and I don't know if at the factory when they were assembling these tractors they ran out of the 4-hole ones, so they grabbed some of these 8s. But to keep you from doing what we're going to do, they drilled some of these holes out and drilled the threads out, so I couldn't put the bolts in and use this. So, well, what I did is I just ordered a new gear with all the holes tapped in it. So we're going to make this a commercial machine, and I'll show you how easy it is. Next, you set this down inside of your differential case. Kind of intermesh these gears. Then through that, you drop your long axle, and that hub on the axle will fit in this gear, kind of like that. That's what lines that up. So we'll drop that in there. Drop the axle through that hexed drive tube. That's got to be in first. Put that together. This could sit a little more level. That would be nice. We'll borrow these washers. The other end is sitting on the head of that bolt that's holding this assembly in. Next, you want to put on the other half of your axle, but there's a nylon spacer that goes in there with some notches in it. Now that's so when this thing is spinning, your gear lube can get down in there, and that sits on the end of this half of the axle, and get up into these bushings and keep them lubed. So you want to drop that on. Now the instructions aren't real clear on most of these parts. If you read the manuals, it'll tell you as you're putting this together, replace if necessary, or replace if worn. How are you supposed to know? Well, this is supposed to, according to the book I found in one book, it said these are supposed to measure 425 thousandths wide. This one is about 422. So I figured that's pretty good. I guess I'm not going to replace that. So we're going to drop that on there. Another reason they have them on there, I could show you on the old axle. This is one of the old axles I took out of the one of the machines. Another reason they use that is, see that big gob of weld they got welded around there, that fits over that weld, and the end of this don't grind on that weld. That's, I guess, an easy way for them to put the axles together. Now, here's my gears. You can't really see all of them. They're sitting down here. I have 8 of these because I tore 2 machines apart. Now, when you assemble them on this gear, you want to put these. This is the shaft it spins on, each gear. And these are all identical, all 8 of them, all 8 shafts. You want to put one with the head of this shaft down, and the mating gear that meshes into that, you put with one of the heads up. And when we get this assembled, I'll show you why you do that. So we're going to lay them on here. And 2 of these holes in this gear, they're in pairs. See how these two are closer together than these 2 are? These 2 are the pairs that the gears you want to mesh together. All 8 of these gears don't touch each other, just 2 at a time around the pattern. It's a planetary gear system. So I got 2 of them in there, one up and one down. The next 2 you put in, one up and one down. You just work your way around. If you only have 4 gears, you put them across from each other. You put one up and one down. Then there's a cover plate. And luckily the cover plate had all 8 holes in it, so I didn't have to worry about that. Cover plate goes down on there, and it's centered on this top half of this axle. That holds the top half together. And you just kind of line these up so they match. There we go. Now I want to grab some Loctite and put them on these bolts. Now when you put this Loctite on here and you slide them down through, you don't have to worry about getting Loctite up the shaft of the bolt. Even though these gears are going to be turning, you're not going to lock the gear up. With the Loctite, if it gets on anything, it's going to get on the inside of this hub that the gear spins on when you put the bolt in. That doesn't turn anyway, so it's not going to hurt a thing. Don't worry about using it. But you do want to use Loctite on these, because they do specify that in the instructions about do not reuse these bolts, because when they're new, they put Loctite on here that dries. So when you buy them, they'll already have Loctite on them. I don't know how much they are. I didn't price them because I knew I wouldn't need it because I have Loctite. So I'm going to stick some of this on here. You don't need a whole lot. So maybe a drop. When you turn the bolt, it'll spread itself around. I just use my finger. You know, it's not going to hurt you. Drop them in here and screw them in. Now to save time, I'm going to pause this and get the rest of them 7 bolts in. I'll be right back. Okay, we got all 8 of them torqued down. Now you can pull this out of here, and I can show you what that looks like inside, if you can see up in there. If you spin this around, you can see every other gear, one's up and one's down. This top axle catches on these top gears, and the bottom axle, the gear on the bottom axle, catches on these ones that are down. So when you're just driving across your yard and your hex drive tube is spinning that chain which turns that little gear that's meshed into this, it turns both axles in your driving. But when you turn a corner, one of these tires has to go a lot faster than the other one. And that's why if you hang on to this bottom shaft and hold it solid, this top shaft will turn. You can hold the gear and turn this top shaft. That's what all these planetary gears are in here for. That gives you your differential, like a car has. Okay, we can set that down in there. Leave that set for a minute. Now we want to go to the bushings. They call them bearings. I'm sorry, they're brass bushings that are in the fenders. Let me show you how to change one of them. Okay, this is the right-hand fender that goes on this assembly and bolts in solid after you put your gasket on. But we got to change this bushing or bearing, whatever you want to call it. But I can do this at work. I do all the maintenance, machine repair, electrical, plumbing, pneumatic, hydraulic. I do all the work at the shop. I can use any of the machines I need to use to work on stuff like this. The welders, the grinders, the mills, and a 20-ton hydraulic press to get these bushings in and out. But I don't know how many of you guys working at home, and gals, believe me, I know some women mechanic that can put me to shame, that have a 20-ton hydraulic press in your garage to get these things out. You can't beat them out. Lord knows, don't do that. You'll destroy them. I'm going to show you a way to press them out that everybody can do at home, and it's just stuff you can buy at the hardware store. You're going to need a piece of threaded rod, 1/2 inch is what I use. Put 2 nuts on the end and jam them together. Then you're going to use some heavy washers. The first time I did them, if I can find that old one, I went down and bought 6 of these. They're covers for electrical boxes. 3-inch round electrical box with a knockout in the center. I mean, why drill the hole if you don't have to when you can just knock that out? I stacked up 3 of these on each side. They're like 92 cents a piece. Well, I've used them so much you can see that it started to bend them. So I found a piece of flat stock and I cut some circles out with a hole saw, and this is what I use now, and it is a hold up forever. Slide one of these on your threaded rod. Now you want to determine which way you want to press this bushing to get it out of here. If you look at it, you can tell this side is a bigger diameter than this side. So we want to push it towards the inside of the machine to get it out. So you take your assembly, you stick it through there. Turn it, you almost need 2 hands for this. Turn it upside down. Now I'm just using a plain, I think this is 1.5 inch PVC coupling. They're like $1 maybe. Put that on there. All it's got to do is straddle the outside of this diameter. Put that on there. You got another one of these washers, or what I used to do, I had 3 more of these I put on this side. Then you're going to want to take a bunch of 1/2 inch washers. I got 4 of them. Put them on there. Now if you put a little drop of oil between these, it'll help immensely. It'll almost act as a bearing. Then you put your nut on. Now obviously I could cut some of this threaded rod off. Tighten that up. I'm going to put a wrench on this side. I stole my socket. And I'm going to put a socket on the other side and just tighten it up. almost need two people. That popping noise, that's fine. That's the bushing popping its way out. Very seldom do they move without making noise. It would help if I had a longer ratchet. Or maybe, let's stick it in a vise. I tell you, if you had an extra pair of hands, it'd really be nice. That's all it took, a little help. Now you take that nut off. Your washers. And there's that old bushing. Now let me grab the new one down here. Now we're going to pop the new one in the same way we took the old one out. Put your assembly back in the opposite way this time. Put your coupling on. Your big plate. Put on my washers and the nut. And we're just going to tighten it up. And that's a cheap 20-ton press. You can buy that stuff at any big box store. That's where I get mine. The new bushing is in. Let me spin you back around. And that's about it for now. Going to be a number 2 and probably a 3 and a 4. We got a lot of work to do to get this together. If you need any help, if I went too fast, I don't want to go too slow and bore you to death, email me. Tell me you need a little help. Send me a picture. I'll take some pictures of this and I can email them to you. If you need anything, I'm Jim at jimsfixitshop@gmail.com. Drop me a line. I'd like to hear from you. Find out if you're even watching. Give me a thumbs up or down and subscribe. I've got a lot of things coming up you're going to want to see. So I guess until next time, work safe, have fun. We'll talk to you later.